Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the stream. I'm CaptDaf, and today it's been 3 weeks since I streamed last. I am not kidding. It has been 22 days since I last streamed, which for me is insane. I've had a busy bunch of weeks, and my internet's been kind of mediocre, to say the least. Even as far as Australian internet goes, it's been pretty bad. But I've got PAX coming up this weekend. I've got another busy week, and I suddenly had a quiet night. And I thought, you know what I haven't done for a while? Streamed. That's been a while. How long has that been? Oh wow, it's been 3 weeks. I've had 2 subscribers since I streamed last. Thank you very much to the Crosshair and Juniper Paws. Oh, I can hit the buttons. It makes it redo it. Hang on, here it goes. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Here we go. That was the Crosshair. And also a resub from Juniper Paws, which I am very, very so grateful for. And I'm sorry that I haven't been here, but I've been busy starting a business, which is crazy. Because, you know, what do I know about running a business? It turns out nothing. Absolutely nothing. But yeah, I started a business called Werewolf Melbourne to run werewolf events around Melbourne. And we started running some werewolf events in a pub, basically, in Kensington, in Melbourne's northern inner-ish city. And we had a good turnout, and we had a good time, and that was the important thing. And that's sort of like a promo for this is how werewolf works, and you can come along and have a look. And if you'd like to hire me to come to your place and run werewolf for you, to your party or function or whatever, then that's a thing that you can do, and that's when I get paid. And so far that hasn't happened yet, because it's only been 3 weeks of setting up and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that turns out. Right now, let's get on with playing some video games. I'm going to try starting with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Apparently I've played this game for 9 minutes, sometime between the 26th of May 2010 and now. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to need to redo the capture window. Here we go. All right, it's thinking about it. Oh, wow. Is it just not working, or? It's really loud for me. I don't know about you guys. And it's not showing up on the screen, and I don't know why. Why isn't it showing up on the screen? Somebody explain to me why it's not showing up on the screen. Can it just not capture it? Is that the problem? Capture specific window, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.exe, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That's what we're looking for. But it's not showing up here. And I don't know why. Let me switch out of the scene and then back in again. Hey look, it's another Ron Gilbert game. Who'd have thought? Well, the game itself appears fine. But it's not capturing... It's not capturing in OBS and I don't know why not. I might need to stop it and restart it. Well, this is going to suck. Right, let me try closing OBS and then restarting it. Just you know what? Let me try closing the game and relaunching it. Because that's a little less disruptive. It might be an issue of this game is too old and it just can't. Oh wow, I've got to sit through the entire credits again, don't I? Oh no, I can skip them with escape. But there's no help options or anything like that. It's in a tiny little window on my monitor. Indy's dripping wet. Oh, because he came out of the ocean at the start of the third film. Yeah. They skipped over the whole River Phoenix part. Well, this is disappointing. But quite frankly, about on par for one of my streams. Alright. Well... Let's see if we can find something else to stream instead. That's frustrating. Because it was a puzzle adventure game that, you know... cool and I like it, but no. No, I couldn't possibly have, you know, something like that work properly. Why would that be a thing? Yeah, well, if anything was a sign to just not worry about this and go to bed, then that's probably it. Man, see, Pillars of Eternity, I haven't played that for ages. I've played 43 hours, but it doesn't tell me the last time I played it, which means it's been a really long time. I haven't even installed Shadowrun Hong Kong. And I don't want to play Shadowrun while Liz and Kate are playing Shadowrun. Civ 5. I can watch me be terrible at Civ 5. Is it Sherlock Holmes game? Not The Devil's Daughter, which is apparently terrible. It says The Awakened. Oh, here's another adventure game. Okay, it's another LucasArts adventure game. I own a lot of LucasArts adventure games, apparently. Let's try Loom. Let's see if I can get this to connect instead.
Please choose your skill level.
I bought this in 2010 as well, so let's see how this goes. Nope, it's the same size.
Please choose.
Yeah, I heard you. Well, I'm getting frustrated. NETS Dow, thank you for the follow. Oh wow, okay. Is something I can fire up to just test to see if OBS is even working. Something I know that I can stream. Well, in theory. I could fire up Vampire the Masquerade just to see if it is going to connect. Thanks, chatbot. You're a little bit behind the times, but 28th of August was the last. 2 months ago was the last time I played Vampire the Masquerade. Also, 2 months ago, the last time I played Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. I didn't really. Okay, let me launch 80 days, and if that doesn't show up, then I know it's an OBS problem. Game capture, 80 days. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's working. Well, I guess I could play 80 days. I wasn't really planning on playing 80 days again. I certainly could though. I guess while I've got something running, it would be better than nothing. Okay, let me just change that to 80 days and 80 days, upload that. Alright, apparently I've updated the things. I've updated that. Yeah, you know what, that's... Yeah. Alright, that's gonna be close enough. Okay, let's play 80 days because I'm not sure I can get anything else to work. So, we are back in London, 1872. On our last trip, we successfully made it. I successfully made it around the world in 80 days on my first go. I was shocked. I did not expect to do it. But the... Is this my previous trip? It is. This is my previous trip. Oh, awesome. Oh, that is so cool. This is my previous route. Oh, that is amazing. I love that. That is so good. Oh, that is great. Oh, I'm very impressed. Oh, that is awesome. All right. Let us begin. Okay, we're beginning. Yes, we have fun. This is great. It's not really a new route. Let us pack. We need to pack our things. A rifle? Okay, well, oh, no, sorry. Valuable in Paris. Yeah, we can do that. Hey, can we buy a new bag? We can't? Okay. No, I just want to... Oh wow, look at all the routes we discovered. Okay, can I unpack? Yeah. Embark. Go. Yay, we did it. I hope that we learned all of those routes and then we still remembered them even though I put the timetable back. Yes, our journey has begun. Yes, thank you. Can we get from Paris to Zurich? Impossible. Oh yes, we're on a wager. Tell me about Paris. Can we get from Paris to Dubrovnik? Can we get from Paris to Nice? Ah, there is a route from Paris to Nice. Good to know. The Underwater Express. No channel at that point in time. Ah, the Orient Express goes to Bucharest. Sure, we could do that. Yes, let us go to the market, and we shall sell that. Do we want a driving cap? Open road set? No. No. Copenhagen. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's departs at 6 p.m. Okay, we have time. No, not what I wanted. How do I get back to... I click on Paris. Okay, we've got... It's gonna be tough. Cook feeding starved citizens in the Latin Quarter. Now, we don't have a lot of time to get to the... We even killed the only two elephants in Paris, Castor and Pelot, who had given rides around the Jardin des Plantes in the days before the siege. Aww. Go! Yes, 5 minutes! I made it! Not 5 actual minutes, 5 game minutes, which tick along very quickly. The train would be, it was very beautiful. It was one of the many, many modern developments that had led to Monsieur Fogg's wager. Let us wait. Bucharest free from gold prices. Okay. I haven't bought anything to sell. Wish to be undisturbed. I barred the compartment door and settled down to rest. This is a very healthy trip on the Orient Express. Mechanical soldiers in polished blue paint uniforms. I did not like the look of them. A loud commotion. I reached out to catch him. A bloodied shirt. His hands covered in yet more blood. I recoiled and missed my grasp and fell to the flagstones. A swarm of train guards massed over him and he was lost from view. How dreadful. He probably did not have a ticket. Yay, we're steadfast. I'm not sure what being steadfast gets us. But we are steadfast nonetheless. And I didn't get my shirt all bloody. Let us explore then. Let us go to the market first. Oh, Pacific timetable. Yes, let's do that. An accordion. Are we likely to go through? Yeah, maybe. And some oil paints. Good in... Oh, they're both good in Beirut. We don't need that. Okay. No. Here it's discovered. Going to the market. Oh, that's a thing. Pyongyang down to Yokohama. Vladivostok through to Yokohama. Alright, let's go, let's explore. Little Paris. Most certainly trying to make me feel at home. Took a tram into the city centre. Oh yes, here we are. A cunningly fashioned lamp in the shape of a lily proclaimed the local Artificers Guild. The Artificers Guild crops up a lot, but it is a steampunk game. I steered well clear. I had noticed a few figures shaped rather like policemen hovering outside the guild door. Walked back to Monsieur Fogg, and our relationship has strengthened. Okay, let me plan. Do I know roughly where Beirut is? Down here. Okay, can we get to Beirut? Looks like it's a bit out of the way, doesn't it? If we get down to Istanbul... I keep forgetting how to get back into the town. What day is today? Friday. It was paved in small cobblestones. It was no Champs-Élysées. Goes to Odessa. Looks like we're not going to get to Beirut. The Englishman's wardrobe should make things go easier. Do we have time to go to the market? It departs at noon? Yeah, we have time to go to the market. Dusty Road. Yeah, well. Izmir and Moscow. Okay. No. keep getting that wrong. Alright. Let's go to Odessa. With a little standing around and tipping my hat. He was easily bribed with £50. More than happy to let me see the schedules. Let us converse. Monsieur Drugs, of course. Please, Odessa. Can we get from Odessa to Belgrade? How about from Odessa to Astrakhan? Maybe. You can pick up tartan blankets in Astrakhan. You can sell for profit in Harar. Here's Astrakhan. So it was maybe possible to get from Odessa to there. But I guess not. Monsieur Fogg seemed untroubled, even by the straw mattress. A Russian bear. The oil paints would trade well here. Sure. We're gonna want that fur coat. 86, that's a loss. Urban Traveller, Railway. Oh, really? Yeah. Cool. Let's explore. Alright, so we can go back down to Istanbul. Could almost be Mediterranean if not for the wind. Sipping shared carafes in a clear liquid I do not believe was water. Mood was pensive. We approached a group of drinkers. We are visitors. What would you recommend we see? The one you're standing on. The best views here are through the bottom of a bottle. I offered to buy a bottle for the sum of £3 and they obliged me without pleasure. I'm going to go for the first option. Novorossiysk. My brother has a cart going that way. He can take you. Oh, it's going to be a bumpy ride, but it is going in the direction we want to go. Can I get from here in the middle of a conversation? No. Let's be polite. Okay. We went to the market already, didn't we? We sure did. Oh, we have a bottle of vodka. We might as well get that now. Cancel. Plan. £50 departs tomorrow. Istanbul. Okay. Well, it looks like we're staying the night. Let's go to the hotel. With what remained of the day, I afforded my master every service. And so he has healed up. Hooray! Let us depart. Arrives Wednesday. They both arrive Wednesday. £50. Oh, wow. We could get on this train, but we've already been that way. Oh wow, that is annoying. Oh, well, we don't need that anymore. Oh, we bought this for £3. We can immediately sell it for £7. Yes, the fur coat I bought has paid off. A carriage ride around the edge of the Black Sea. Perhaps he had a plan for how to proceed. He veritably leapt down the Odessa steps to where we might meet our driver. The brother of the drunkard from the previous night, cart piled high with rattling crates of vodka, just as bloodshot as heavy as his siblings had been. I am the gentleman's valet. This is my master, Monsieur Phileas Fogg. I didn't know there would be two of you. I gave no reaction and merely waited. There isn't enough room for two. I see. Well, this is awkward. Make room? I'd have to leave a crate behind for that. We'll buy it. £65 on top of the 50 we already paid. We will share this tonight. Very well. Yes, we may talk. Please tell me about this. The vineyards of Novorossiysk produce wine for the Tsar's own table. Tell me, can we get to Krasnoyarsk? How about Sofia? No. Unlucky. And I saw us as ants crawling over an endless plain, never to return to civilization. What I'd like to do, game, is have a look at the mount. Oh, that's where I should have gone. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Our journey was proceeding apace. Only every jolting of the cart was somewhat. Okay. The Black Sea to the south was to the south, very pretty. Not very black, but sea-ish, I supposed. We had drunk rather a lot the previous night and would only find out much later the vodka is transported at a higher strength before being diluted for sale. So indeed, Monsieur Fogg was beautifully asleep like a little child under a sheet of tarpaulin. I feared another night aboard this carriage would be the death of us. Well, at least we didn't take a wrong turn. The sound of gentle groaning issuing from Monsieur Fogg. I'd never realised travelling the world could be so dangerous. Well, his health sure went down. Oh, really? That is good to know. Let's see. Accordion, 100. The evening jacket. Yeah, let's sell that. Fur-lined boots, part of the cold climate set. Do we have anything else? No. Oh, the fur coat sells for 500. I sort of want to keep that. Okay, let's dispense with that. Let us explore. There is no way out of here. There we are. 240, we might have enough time. No, doesn't leave until... Departs in 2 days. Alright, if it departs in 2 days, we have enough time to go to the bank. No, we don't. The bank's shut already. You are kidding me. Oh, okay. Do we still have the thing that sells in Astrakhan? I think we sold that already. There's the one at Herat. What did they say about Herat? I think there's something I could buy in Astrakhan that sold well in Herat. Where are we? Oh, okay. That's where we are. I don't think I want to go that way, which means we've got, yeah, 2 days here. We can go back to the market for a little bit. No. Bandar Abbas and Baku. Well, there's Baku. Here's Bandar Abbas. Now, where we might get down there. Maybe. We won't fit them. Oh yeah, they will. Alright. They only cost £26. Let us stay the night. As night fell, I spent a few hours polishing shoes in the lobby. We got some cash. £75. Alright, the bank opens at 10. I'm not sure we can get any money out today though. Yes. I regarded the manager of the bank. You wish to withdraw funds. It may take some time. 500 tomorrow. I really wanted to draw something. No, tomorrow is fine. Yeah. Okay. Because this doesn't leave until tomorrow. Wow, I hope it leaves tomorrow at 3 PM. Oh yeah, we can negotiate and we could have left today, but that's fine. I engaged another guest in conversation, but learnt nothing. 3 PM is a reasonable amount of time. It takes 2 hours to go to the bank. We've got our £500. Let us... yep, that's the one. Let us depart. A bearable route. Oh, we're sailing. A trading vessel carrying fabrics and foodstuffs from Europe to Tehran, the edge of the Indian subcontinent. I fancy this would be a quiet journey, but unfortunately it was not. Let me converse. Please, tell us about Tehran. Can we get from Tehran to Bandar Abbas? Yeah, indeed. It is because I am French. Please tell me more about Tehran. Good influence. Can we get from Tehran to Herat? Connected by rail. Then can we get from Herat to Lahore? Excellent. Oh, there we go. Despite being a goods ship, oh, we're flying through the air. I had no idea. We found ourselves in a compartment across a thin corridor from a woman surrounded by bodyguards. I left her be, not wanting to entangle her and my master in any sort of trouble, and spent my time walking the decks, enjoying the view through the portals. Boat with microscopic sails. How had anyone travelled before airships? How had Marco Polo journeyed to China? Did he really inch every step of the way across the ground? We were passing Mount Erebus, a magnificent sight, a snow-capped sight that lifted the spirits and put a spring in my step. I enjoyed it until it was out of sight. Oh, wow. I apologise for my lateness. He dismissed the apology out of hand. I was late and Monsieur Fogg was doing his own cravat. Oh. Yes, let us sell this accordion. I still want to keep that. Yes, let us buy a Russian timetable. A pressure gauge. A hand-woven carpet. Are we going to Kabul? Alright. Let me check to see if we're going to Kabul first. I have no idea where... What? Ah, that was the Russian timetable thing that we just got. Right, well, I don't need that anymore. Okay, plan. Here's Kabul. Okay, so we're probably going to Kabul. Alright, go back to the market. We'll grab this. I don't need that anymore. We can probably find somewhere to sell that. Alright, departs tomorrow at 4 PM. Yeah, we can probably wait till tomorrow. It's cool. Let's explore. Oh yeah, it's a little bit late for that. Jewel-beaked copper-bodied birds sang from the branches of the trees while spare workday iron automata harvested cotton from the fields outside the city. The recent alliance with the Ottoman Sublime Porte had allowed the city to prosper despite border disputes with Russia and British India. The city is a garden of culture and art protected from the skirmishes along its border. Excellent. We strengthened our relationship. Let us hotel for the evening. Hopefully I don't get arrested. Fog's back up to 99. Poets and musicians retreated as night fell and the cafes filled with technicians drinking heavily sweetened coffee, racing their inventions across tabletops. I spoke to the metal forgers, an old woman whose muscular arms bulged under her chador leaned closer. The other artificers call us mere blacksmiths, she said, waving her burn-spotted hands. But could they make their wondrous devices if we didn't first hammer out their copper sheets and spin their wires? It is fine work, I remarked. The finest, a middle-aged fellow by the name of Rafiq remarked. In other cultures, a copper lily may be enough for an artificer to complete their education. But we all apprentice to other guilds and craftsmen. To truly make automata, we must be jewelers, architects, shipwrights, cobblers, doctors, dancers. But then you must learn endlessly, Rafiq smiled. Is that not what human culture is? Is that not what Tehran is? Endless learning, poured into buildings and gardens and inventions. I think I will look at automata differently now. We'll make civilized men out of you Europeans yet. Rafiq flashed me a grin, taking the sting out of his words, and we clinked our coffee glasses together. That is my abiding memory of Tehran. A place where people could be both right and humane all at the same time. Alright, let us depart. Now, we could go to Bandar Abbas, or we could go to Kabul. Let's go to Kabul. -6. It'll be fine. A black metal horse from the prow of the Kamir-Taj, a masterpiece of Ottoman style powered by a new type of Persian engine. It ran from Istanbul through the Persian Empire all the way to the British frontier of Kabul. I was sorry to be leaving Tehran, a place of true possibility. Still, the Kamir-Taj left us in no doubt that we were leaving. Its engines fired and we rocketed along the rails. Let us converse. Passport, did you say? What a strange name. Tell me about Kabul. Has changed hands over the year. Can we get from Kabul to Baghdad? No idea. How about from Kabul to Lahore? I believe so. But the journey is a tiring one. Oh, nice. Okay. I have chosen wisely. Cider, hello. Yes, I'm sorry. It was going to be Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones did not appear on the screen. It was not cooperating with me in the slightest. I had to resort to 80 days, which is I'm still having a good time. How have you been? This thing. One of the Armenian porters nudged his Pashtun friend and muttered something uncomplimentary as he watched me struggle to load our things onto the luggage car. I focused on my task. Looked very strange for a servant, said the Armenian fellow, whose name turned out to be Abajian. I looked the man level in the eye. Well, I am a strange sort of servant, I admitted, thinking of the unconventional services I had performed for my master since we had departed London. They only laughed pityingly in response. Monsieur Abajian tucked a purple lambswool pashmina around my neck. Perhaps this will help, he said rather hopelessly. I stroked the soft fabric as I returned to my compartment. Monsieur Fogg made no comment, distracted by the whistles and shouts which marked our departure from Tehran. Oh, cool. Should fetch a good price. Let me converse some more. Procrastinating is fun. Decided to fold my scarf into my pocket. A well-meant gift is not a thing to be taken lightly. Very vibrant. It was a gift, I said with a smile. You do have a great facility for making friends. I do believe my master complimented me. I could scarcely credit it. Oh, no, we are not saying that. I think it was a gift of pity rather than friendship. Let me attend to Monsieur Fogg. Try and keep him up at 100. We had our papers inspected by a Persian customs officer with a pair of magnificent expending spectacles made of polished brass and engraved with Farsi script along the arms. He inspected our documents while turning a small lever behind his ear. You are widely travelled, he remarked. We are travelling around the world, I blurted, and could nearly hear my master refrain from rolling his eyes. Oh well, it is none of my business, the official remarked philosophically. Your papers are in order. Good luck with your travels. We repeated much the same experience with the British customs official a few hours later. The hand-woven carpet will sell well here, which is why I bought it. Yeah, we're probably going through Calcutta. Oh, hey, we can get our evening jacket back. Made a tidy profit on that. Do we really need it though? Yeah, probably not. Let us plan. Well, we can get to Agra. Departs tomorrow. What time tomorrow? 8 AM. Oh, wow. Uh, 8 AM. Well, let's stay the night. As we explored the city, we were rather unceremoniously seized by a score of British infantry and marched along the walls of Kabul, up the mountain ridge and to the fortress of Bala Hissar. Monsieur Fogg protested our treatment and I joined my voice to his, though my outraged tones rather outmatched his calm ones. We were presented to a small bespectacled gentleman in a palatial office, which looked rather more like a court, despite the piles of books and surveyor's equipment littering the floor. He gave us a glance over his spectacle rims. I am Mr. Smythe, second assistant political officer to the British Mission here. I do not have the pleasure of your acquaintance. I glanced at my master, who straightened his cuffs, but otherwise looked as though he might have been out for a mid-morning stroll and had wandered by merest happenstance into an Afghan palace fort. I've Monsieur... Wow, he is actually saying Mr. instead of Monsieur. I am Mr. Phileas Fogg, and this is my valet Passepartout. I am a subject of Her Majesty, and passing through Kabul with no small urgency. Urgency? The political officer's eyes flashed behind his lenses. Pray expand a little upon the nature of this urgency, Mr. Fogg. He had the measure of my cool-eyed master. That much was certain. Monsieur Fogg was not used to being on the other side of the interrogation table, and I felt rather protective of him as Monsieur Fogg explained his wager and our resultant breakneck trip around the world. I could see Smythe growing more astonished with each word. Finally, he took off his glasses and tapped them on the table. Were you Russian or Persian spies, he said musingly, you would have a more plausible story. I could not, in all honesty, disagree. My master's ongoing willingness to risk life, limb, and valet for a bet seemed to me the height of nonsense. I fear I did not keep my thoughts from my face either, as I saw Monsieur Fogg's cold glance in my direction. Monsieur Smythe's eyebrow raised in an eerie mirroring of my master's expression, and then he cleared my throat. A friend of mine is travelling to Omsk. I'd consider it a great favour if you accompanied her. Where is Omsk, I wonder? I mean, we haven't been through Omsk before. A particular friend? I winked. You could say that, I suppose. She is very particular, he chortled. Think on it. He dismissed us and returned to his papers without a second glance. Quite a commanding fellow for a mere second assistant political officer. Our relations have deteriorated slightly, but they've also strengthened slightly. Yeah, I don't really want to go to Omsk, though. What I want to do is go to Agra. So, let's do that instead of the other thing. Oh, the Englishman's wardrobe. Oh, did I miss it? Wait, hang on. It departs at 8 AM. Go to the market. Buy that. We've got the full Englishman's wardrobe. Full Englishman's wardrobe is +8 instead of +4. Hopefully that will be worth it. It might not. It's a palantir, or a palanquin, I guess. We hired a mechanical palanquin for the journey and clambered aboard. We're not going to Omsk. Agra? Modern day artificers have no idea how Agra is powered. Some buyers will pay well for amethysts from Hong Kong. We have an amethyst. Stretching from Afghanistan to Bengal was an ancient trade route. The Maurya's had once used it to trade with the ancient Greeks. And now the British Empire had repaved and restored it for their own purposes. Mechanical palanquins laden with trade goods jostled alongside troop transports and Trevithick steam carriages imported from England. All were brightly painted, each one a paean to garish ill taste. My eyes hurt looking at blue-skinned gods and pastoral scenes baking under searingly orange suns and interlocking patterns painted by unskilled hands. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. Yay! Our character is now manicured. He sure does. Hey, we found the Times. Oh. Short distance from Lahore to Delhi, we'd been promised it was a particularly well-maintained stretch of road. I played whist with Monsieur Fogg with a pack of cards he had conjured up from somewhere. The mechanical bearing of our palanquin was so steady, they barely jostled us at all. The mechanical's bearing. Alas, I barely managed to win a single round. Little surprised, given my master's monomania for the game. We will simply have to practice more, he remarked. We could get off at Delhi. But let us continue on. Oh, it's where the Taj Mahal is, right. How are we going to climb up the towering edifice to enter Agra before it departed? No doubt. Let us go to the market though. Oh, there's nothing here. A false passport. Some loaded dice, a cold compress, a monkey wrench, a shaving kit. I guess I could buy a shaving kit, but... Oh, 2 parts of the left of the law set. £41. Oh, we've got some... We've certainly got some cash. Right, we can get from Agra to Calcutta. Hey, awesome. The perambulatory city of Agra was itself a wonder. The Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan had wished to build a monument to his great love, Mumtaz, and instead of a mere building had commissioned a roving city. The vast white granite magnificence of the Taj Mahal perched on the plateau atop its jointed fortified legs. There were thick gouges in the ground to the west and east. Agra's habitual orbit was hewn into the earth itself. Her sovereignty was a contested matter. The British had laid claim to her, but she passed through independent territories on her peregrinations. I swear, this game and cold reading some of these words is an effort. How can you claim to own a city which moves from place to place? It is as ridiculous a notion as planting a flag upon the moon. As for me, I would not chain such a marvel with the notions of state or government. Agra was a creature unto herself, a living city who owed her living to no one. We are now polished. Methodial, hello, how are you? Let's go to Calcutta. Go. Oh, high temperatures. Room for seven suitcases because the city itself moves. That is awesome. I didn't even look to see how much this cost. She settled down into a regular rhythm after a few tottering steps, and by evening I barely noticed a slight tilt and yaw, developing a kind of sea legs. Let me attend to Monsieur Fogg, as he is a Triforce in Mario. What? What? I stayed in the city centre. I don't want to fall off the edge. A few birds even perched in the trees. But on closer inspection, I realised that half of them were cunning mechanicals with feathers of interlocking jade and amber, and voices pure as gold. They sang and chittered and preened alongside their flesh and blood compatriots. It was only fitting for a migrating city with an engine for a heart. I have naught to do but wait. Experimental hovercraft to launch from Yokohama soon. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Cool. I didn't know that was possible. Reading the newspaper gives us travel routes. Good to know. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Marveling at the glistening white marble edifice of the Taj Mahal, bounded by clear blue water and manicured gardens. A photographer had set up a booth on the lawn and was doing a brisk trade taking ferrotypes of families posing in front of the magnificent monument. His hands were stained with chemicals with dark burns visible against his brown skin. He was experienced at his trade. Photograph, he asked in passable French. £10. Mais oui, but yes, I agreed, and then glanced at Monsieur Fogg and invited him to join me in the picture. He glanced at the photograph apparatus with evident suspicion and then at my hopeful expression. Very well, he said shortly. I stared at him, mouth agape, for a full 20 seconds. I had not imagined that he would agree. We posed beside each other as the photographer made his equipment ready. I could barely keep the grin from my face. There was a blinding flash of white light, and by the time my vision had returned to normal, the ferrotype was already being pressed into my hands. A handsome article. In some light, I can almost see the barest hint of a smile upon my master's lips. I tucked the ferrotype into my pocket and we continued about our promenade. £10? Worth it. Oh, yes, no. I must attend to Monsieur Fogg. I've gotten 10 of his health back up. I was taking a small digestive walk after a substantial breakfast when I saw a young lady in bright pink sari and yellow lens goggles pitch herself over the outer railings. I screamed. I leapt across the deck and immediately entangled myself in some coils of rope, which toppled me onto the railings in a cursing, unceremonious heap. I peered over the edge, bracing myself for traumatic sight, but the woman waved up at me cheerily, suspended from the railing by a length of thick hemp rope knotted about her waist. I have several words for her. I waved back through my fixed expression could hardly be as described as nonchalant, even by the kindest critic. The woman sought me out at luncheon, by which time I was much recovered, and she introduced herself as Dea. Mademoiselle Dea, I bowed. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. She laughed in surprise. Your manners are very fancy. I invited her to sit with me, as was only polite, but she shook her head. I don't eat up here, she pronounced derisively, before glancing at me with bright mischief. We are a city of many levels. The real Agra is below decks. I'll take you down tomorrow if you want to do more than sightseeing. She swept her way into the crowd, leaving me to contemplate her challenge over my meal. And, of course, I stayed well away from the lower decks. A place of engines and oil and workers. And after Dia's performance at the rail yesterday, I didn't believe she would try to scare me some other way. So I kept my place at the rail. Evening drew in. The city lurched to a halt and the great heart stilled. We had arrived at our destination, the British city of Calcutta. We are now presentable. Yes. Oh, a Pacific timetable. Oh, yay. Let's buy this for £2. And then we can sell it again. So if we can get from Calcutta to Hong Kong, then we can get to Yokohama, and then we can get to Honolulu. I don't think we're ever getting to Australia. We already learnt this route. We learnt this route already. Or did we unlearn it when I sold it? Open road. Oh, in Singapore. And oh, valuable in Hong Kong. Excellent. Okay. Let us explore. Alright, we can get from Calcutta to Chittagong and then down to Singapore. And then from Singapore to Hong Kong. But not today. The chai shops which I passed by were all thronged with affluent babus and bahenis discussing poetry and literature and the sticky subject of Indian independence. It seemed a natural outcome of events, and I said as much, to be loudly shouted down by several pro-British voices, who in turn were shouted down by those fervently in favour of self-rule. It was certainly a thorny issue, and I wondered if we would be able to avoid all consequences of it. Where is the most dangerous right now, I asked, and the woman nodded. I hear the mountains to the east are teeming with separatists, she declared. They mean to attack Chittagong. Oh, no, that's our only exit. See? Departs tomorrow. It's only £9 to get there. We might, if we go directly to Chittagong, we might be able to go across land. It's Sunday, arrives Friday, arrives next Wednesday. Wow. It's a week and a half to get from Calcutta to Hong Kong. That is not cool. In Colombo... Rangoon is sort of nearby, isn't it? There it is. Alright, well, let's see if... let's see if that works or not. It may not. We took a room and it said, oh, is it 79? No. I'm affording my master every service. Plus 10, thank goodness. Alright. It's 750 to go all the way through, or it's £9 to go just to Chittagong. Yeah, we don't have any other options, unfortunately. The SS Thunder. On its way to Hong Kong via Singapore. We made a full stop. We could stow away. Oh, wow. We could try stowing away. Let's not. I hope that's not it. Oh, that's not good. Remained characteristically ignorant of their anger. It probably not occurred to him that his porters were even capable of such feelings. It was an odd sensation. I had to be hated so impersonally, so I took pains to be courteous to the natives of the city. It had little effect on the tamped-down rage nestled in the corners of their mouths. We had been instructed to visit the visa office, so I hired in a mechanical palanquin, much had been taken along the Grain Trunk Road. Happily enjoying the tour when a thundering explosion rocked the city to the west. The streets flooded with soldiers and citizens, roiling in an uneasy mass. I leapt out of the palanquin. My curiosity, realizing I would be swifter on foot, considering the thronged streets. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the spiral of smoke rising above the police armory, which seemed to be the center of the disturbance, but about which I wished to see as little as I could. I looked up for the source of the leaflets. I saw a fleet of riders throwing leaflets from atop a golden-bodied eagle-like Garuda. They left smudged trails of oil smoke in the sky. Elsewhere, the Garuda riders dropped explosives and flaming rags upon the telegraph office and railway station. It seemed the revolutionaries had effectively cut off Chittagong. We were trapped. Oops. Okay, let's see. Dates and figs? No. Shortbread biscuits? No. Okay. Leaves tomorrow, arrives tomorrow. I'd really like to get to Rangoon. Oh, never? Okay, fine. Let us stay overnight. We have little choice. watch from our window. Alright, let us depart. A monastic caravan. Hello, good morning to you. The British Army had closed down Chittagong's port and set up pickets which prevented travellers from leaving the city. Luckily for us, the colonial government had made an exception for monks on their way to the Burmese royal capital of Yadanabon for the 5th Buddhist Synod. A sensible decision given the uprising. Interfering with the peaceful monks' religious practice would only inflame the unrest further and perhaps even push tense British relations with the Kingdom of Burma into yet another war. Uncharacteristically, it was my master rather than I who had convinced the monks to grant us passage with them. I confess myself surprised by the magnificence of their transport. A small fleet of carriages drawn by pairs of gilded leogriffs, which belched steam from their jaws. I glanced at my master as we settled into our seats. Are you sure they're monks? I asked. A dry laugh interrupted whatever response Monsieur Fogg was about to make as a Burmese monk of middle years climbed in. The carriages were sent by the King of Burma. They do not belong to us, he explained. We own no material goods. A very generous king, I remarked. He is, the monk agreed affably, and then settled into meditative silence. Let me attend to Monsieur Fogg. Back up to 88. The monks in our carriage began to chant in Sanskrit as the sun moved across the sky. I listened, captivated by the sound. Yes! Monsieur Fogg well healed up. Back up to 100. Love it. Well, I guess we're staying here for the night. Oh, and then went down to 91. Ripped. They meditated, conversed, and drank endless cups of tea. Oh, tea. Did I finish my tea? I sure did. I went looking for transportation, locating a rack of chinthas for hire outside one of the zayats. Where do you head? I asked. The driver shrugged. South or north? Rangoon? London. Can you take us to London? No. Those will do for now. Turned to leave when the smell of cooking distracted me. I hardened my heart, returned to find my master. Alright. So we can go to Punxsutaw Pass, or departs at 9 AM. Yeah, we don't have time to explore. Minus 13 but plus 4. This is a very roundabout route to get to Rangoon. The woman drove in silence, perhaps determined to maintain a professional relationship. Clearly she had never encountered a passenger quite like Monsieur Fogg before. Oh, good job everybody. Well done. Let us converse. What do you know about Rangoon? A beautiful, thriving city. About Manila? The fastest way to Manila from here is through Batavia. How about Canton? I can buy tea sets in Canton that are extremely valuable in Manila. We arrived without incident, thank goodness. Well, we will have to stay overnight. I decided to make as much as I could of my French accent. Even such a course would not save me. I'd taken a mere 2 steps from the veranda when an enormous shadow darkened the street. There was a grinding shriek and hot breath, and then I was seized in a great iron claw. A claw? In all my travels, I had not expected such treatment. The The ground fell away in a dizzying rush. The automaton was not flying precisely, but rather leaping with a powerful bunching of hydraulics and gears. With 3 powerful jumps, the creature scaled a nearby temple and deposited me at the very top of the pagoda. I dared to look at my captor, only to find myself similarly scrutinized by a pair of dual-faceted predator's eyes. The automaton was an enormous gilded iron lion with a heartbreakingly human porcelain face and torso. Worse still, it could speak. Oh shit. It knows my name. You know my name? My distaste for my Christian name overriding my fear. I know every creature that comes here. I am the protector of the city. I know the whys and hows of every creature that passes through my domain, but your purpose is a mystery. This is amazing! We are going around the world, I declared. The world is a dangerous place, he said, grinding its iron teeth in a horrible smile, and you Europeans only make it more so wherever you go. You are a watchdog of the king, I suggested, like the chimp who sits in front of the temple. I am an imperial advisor to King Pagan, and no simple collection of gears and levers. Both of these questions are extremely rude. But who made you? I was once a royal child's toy, a man-eating lion with cushioned teeth and emerald eyes. But there was some spark in my shard which allowed me to build, to create myself. I cannibalized the other toys in the imperial nursery. I bit and soldiered and scratched myself into beings. You are your own creator. I have only just begun. Enjoy my city, Jean Passepartout, but when you leave, you will go to Pangsal Pass. We just went the opposite direction from Pangsal Pass. I really don't want to go to Pangsal Pass. This is the opposite direction. And do what? You will know. By the time I had finished shaking, it was gone, his last ambiguous words echoing in my head. I wondered whether the people of Burma would one day proclaim themselves subjects of an automaton king. I wondered if he would truly be worse than a monarch of flesh and blood. Yeah, well, we've discovered a new route. Awesome. The market opens at 7 AM. I'm going to wait for the market to open. Alright, and sell that. And sell that. Oh, a can of engine oil. Oh, valuable in Singapore. Ah. Alright. Leaves tomorrow 8 AM. Okay. In that case, I guess we can explore. It's Thursday. The bank opens at 12 o'clock. Rude. Well, see, now... Yeah, I retreated quickly. I regarded the manager of the local financial institution. You may have to wait a day or two. No. Okay. Yeah, this isn't leaving until... Oh, it departs at 8 AM. What about this one, though? When does that leave? 1 PM. Fine, we'll go to Pangsal Pass. Manila, Beijing. We might end up going through Beijing or Manila. I don't think we're going through Singapore anymore. Very well. Yes, let me... oh, 108 pounds. Excellent. There we go. The partial Englishman's wardrobe. A Garuda! I hope it's faster than the other thing. This was the transport. Monsieur Fogg was not even slightly concerned. He leapt aboard, consulted his pocket watch and smiled as we lifted into the sky. Let us converse, because he's at 94. Pangsal Pass. A good place to find an airship. Oh, that is good to know. Vladivostok. Yes, certainly. Here are some wool trousers. Oh yeah, that was fast. The flight was in fact glorious. We swept over mountains, deep ravines, tiny villages and deep jungle. It was the wildest, deepest country. It's very deep. I had yet seen, and we soared above it as though it were a painting and we its audience. Even Monsieur Fogg was enjoying himself. The speed had brought a touch of colour to his otherwise meticulously pale cheek. Passepartout, he declared with true passion. However you have arranged this, I am most impressed. A mighty compliment indeed. I nodded my head a fraction, a suitable reply. We landed into Pangsal Pass under cover of darkness. The bird let us down gently, dropped our cases, and then wheeled away dramatically into the sky. Excellent progress, Monsieur remarked, but I could not help but remember Manusia's words and feel certain there was a price yet to be paid. Yes, let us sleep. There were no hotels in Pangsal Pass, but we were put up for the night in a local man's thatch-roofed dwelling. There was a mood of grim celebration when we arrived. A man by the name of Captain Chalmers had captured Surya, a notorious Indian revolutionary responsible for some of the recent disturbances in Chittagong. Would you like to come with me to interrogate the man? Captain Chalmers asked genially. I cannot trust the natives to guard my back. I believe this is what I am here to do. His smile was deceptive. It's not my area of expertise. I must see to my own gentleman. I felt compelled, an automaton at my back, so to speak, as I realized with a sinking heart that this was Manusia's task for me. I was supposed to rescue the helpless Indian rebel. I made my way towards the prison hut with a heavy heart. The prison hut was a small, rancid-smelling place that had been used more than once. Monsieur Fogg, standing at the door with me, raised an eyebrow. Perhaps they will listen to me, he suggested. I shook my head. We will need more direct methods. Our discussion was briefly interrupted by a scream. I will, Monsieur Fogg began. Keep a lookout then. I nodded and slipped around the back of the hut. There was a pile of dry firewood stacked against one wall underneath the window. A fire would be an excellent distraction. I peered inside and then rapidly wished I hadn't. Surya was slumped in the middle of the floor, arms and legs tied around a post. Chalmers was looming over him like a pecking vulture. I'm glad I looked inside. A fire would be an excellent distraction, I thought. And there had been lit candles back in the barrack huts. A short walk from the prison. I hurried away. and then set it on fire. I hurried back behind another hut. The fire caught quickly. Spread to the roof of the hut. The effect was immediate. The captain leapt into action, leaving the hut door wide open. We ran inside. I lifted the poor soul, sat at the door. Oh, thank goodness. We did it, everybody. Then we were away, limping down the hillside to collapse breathless behind an outcrop of rock. Surya's eyes were dimmed and his breathing hoarse. I thank you, whoever you are, he gasped. You will be saved, I promise it. And thus we stayed, watching as the frantic officers tried to quench the fire and failed, believing all the while, I think, that Surya was still inside. We did it. Oh, that is, that's mildly annoying. We're going to Beijing after all. I could have bought 2 things to sell in Beijing. Oh, I got an achievement. The Garuda that swooped to collect us seemed to know exactly where we were hiding amongst the trees. It snatched our luggage and then us and disappeared up into the sky before any of the British soldiers could level their guns. I did not attempt an explanation to Monsieur Fogg. It is clear some things simply do not register on a gentleman's mind. Surya was in no state to talk either, so we left him recovering in the very middle of the bird's back, sheltered from the wind. Beijing. There are no airships allowed in Beijing. How about Pyongyang? The fastest way to Pyongyang from here is via Vladivostok. Chinese population clashed with the Russian troops. We crossed the Himalayas at such a speed and height that their snow-capped peaks were but a long stretch of foamy sea. We grew cold on the back of that great creature, and Suyava shivered terribly even as we swooped down and landed with sight on the city of Beijing. Well, I know why. I tended to and tempted to warming a little, and he gave my hands a grateful squeeze. It is not far. Empress Sixi will have no airships in city limits. That includes Garuda, like this fine fellow. We hurried away, wary of such ominous sounds. I think the Garuda had a message for me, but I wanted no more trouble. The oil paints would sell efficiently here. Excellent. Oh, we have a Caribbean timetable. And I think... Can we sell that yet? Valuable in Brisbane and Honolulu. I mean, we're probably going that way. Oh, there's the sound. Well, we have nothing from here. No, okay. Well, I guess we're staying overnight. And then I'll need to explore tomorrow. There are no airships sailing across the Beijing sky, nor any evidence of electrification. Though the Chinese did not shun all technology. Palanquins were drawn by intricately worked and gilded iron lions as often as human servants, and I saw animated metal and jade dragons perched on the gables of imperial buildings, breathing curls of steam vapour and flapping their enamel feather wings. Furthermore, I was lucky enough to catch a performance of the famed sushi opera. The cast consisting entirely of hydraulic elegances, automata by another name. No other nation boasted such a tradition, though the Artificers Guild manufactured the bodies and mainsprings of the performers. Their complex facial mechanisms were built by imperial artisans in strict secrecy. But the opera itself, my friends, it was a thing of great beauty. I forgot that performers were fashioned from brass and iron, that their eyes were polished onyx, that their lips were gently glazed porcelain. I saw only the purity of their movements. We were the guests of a Han opium trader who clearly believed Monsieur Fogg to be in the same trade. Despite my protestations, Englishmen in these parts were of three strict breeds: diplomats, missionaries, or opium merchants, and regrettably, we fit most naturally into the last category. As we departed the auditorium, I made a polite inquiry about the Dowager Empress Cixi, who is a figure of near legend in the West. She is a reformer. She has promoted many Han in the military and court, he said thoughtfully. I hope her influence persists over our emperor. We thanked our host and made our way back to our lodgings. A pair of opium addicts were slumped in an alley near our hotel, faces blankly blissful despite the emaciation of their limbs. I saw the poison and rot at the heart of Beijing and wondered how long even such a grand structure could endure it. And now we get to explore. A horse. Oh, here we go. A ship to Vladivostok. I want to go to the market first. I can go backwards to Hong Kong or I can get to Vladivostok. Departs at 11 AM. Well, we better get on board. Oh, wow. Baking sunshine. Oh, you are kidding me. The warnings saying how difficult it was going to be made me miss it. I am upset. Yeah, I don't need any of these. Wow, I just lost a day. I'm really unimpressed. No, I don't want that one. Ah, departs tomorrow. £620. And minus 15 health. I am upset. I was on time for that other one and the game fucked me over. Your ship is heavily armed, I remarked. Pirates or war? Alright then, good. I spent the first day aboard in conversation. Had a pleasant if unproductive conversation. Let me tend to Monsieur Fogg. Chinese newspaper breakfast. Asked if he would tell me the news. Out of date. Printed in Shanghai. What's the most interesting story? Campaigning against the employment of young women in opium bars in the French concession. French traders must be up in arms. It has turned into quite an uproar. Had to dart. Keen to see what Vladivostok had to offer. Stepped off the boat to hurry after my master. Railway cap. Eastern spices. Indian time travel. I don't need that anymore. Oh, right. Very straight route. Yeah, I don't really need these anymore, do I? There we go. Vladivostok to Yokohama. That's the one we want. Let's go to the... I sidled over to a young man worse for drink. Tsar favours wars and the Tsar wants what he gets. Shut up, Vitaly. Why would he want war? An ambitious man. Britain and France have their empires in Indochina. Tsar is looking eastward. The hour was getting late. An imposing Imperial Army officer accosted me in reception and subjected me to a thorough search. I gave no objection. He studiously went through my cases. Found nothing seditious. It's a closed port. You will be held while a decision is taken in your case. I pleaded with him, but I may as well have begged the thunder not to roll. 4 knights. Awesome. Great. Thanks, game. When does it noon? Oh, right. Oh, I could have gotten an additional suitcase. Oh, well. Oh, yeah, I've done this one before. Monsieur Fogg's down to 65 after spending 4 nights in the prison. Thanks, game. I was happy to have a few of those myself. I've been through this this thing before. Not in this area, just on a different ship. That's nice. Mama runs the boiler room. A friend in the boiler room was useful. I'll ask my mother. It's going to cost a lot of money. Doing everything I can to keep Monsieur Fogg's health up. £800. Sure. Done. A marvel. Well, you lied. We did not arrive that day at all. When does it leave? Departs at 8 AM. The market opens at 7 AM. Okay, Amethyst. Ooh. Katana, Salt Lake City. Cool. Let's get out of here. Depart. Embark. Go. Go! Is it 56 health? But we made it. A hover barge. I had not realized it was an experiment when buying tickets. If only it went further than Honolulu. A little bone rattling for the sake of a few days' efficiency seemed a good trade for me. Oh, this is not good. Even the captain was sweating. No doubt the heat was to blame. Besides, standing next to the captain was our very own artificer. What could possibly go wrong? Indeed, when disaster struck, its nature took us all quite by surprise. Please tell me about Honolulu. Can we get from Honolulu to Manila? You can pick up geometric equipment from Manila you can sell for profit in JBing, but that's the wrong way. Can we get from Honolulu to Port Moresby? No. I stayed down below with my master, getting him up to 69 hearts. In the evening I sat with General Peters, retired army sort. No sign of the officer or captain. Good to know. All the way back down to 56. We noticed the trouble when my bread roll slid from the side of my plate and I rolled against the side wheel of the craft. I stayed seated. The entire ship was listing to the left. I looked over at Monsieur Fogg, who looked most appalled by this sudden sideways movement. Monsieur, what is going on? Perhaps it would be useful to ascertain the cause of this misalignment. Yes, Monsieur. I headed from the dining car to the engine room, slowly moving back to upright once more. A gold prospector by the name of Mademoiselle Carlotta, who I didn't meet yesterday. Mademoiselle, what is the matter? I have just come from the engine room, she replied. And Passepartout? Tell me, please. Oh, our artificer is dead. I hurried to the boiler room. The circuit, she had been murdered. Uh-oh. Oh, the katana that I bought in town to sell in Salt Lake City. But how did it get here? Oh, great. Well, that's just wonderful. The scene of the crime could not be sealed because crew needed access to the boiler. There was no doubt the culprit was still aboard, no clues to suggest who it might be. The weapon that had belonged to us had been spirited out of our own locked cabin. Based on the corpse's temperature 2 hours before she was found. Where were you and your master at the time of the crime? I was taking a turn on the deck. Alone, my master, I believe, was in the drawing room. What possible motive do we have? Let us discover the true culprit by the time we reach port, or you may arrest us for the crime. I rubbed my hands, a chance to save ourselves. You must uncover the truth. How am I to do that? I suggest you ask people things and see what occurs. I attempted to do some detecting. There was no time to lose. Well, this is different and interesting. Unfortunately, Monsieur Fogg is dying. And I probably need to hit converse. I began my investigations talking to Monsieur Jaffer. Not thoroughly by choice. You're the most qualified person aboard. Most people are not particularly good at lying. Where were you? A good question one should be asking me and everyone else. I was in my cabin, attending to my person. As you know, I was in the dining room with you. That is true. I spent the next day General Peters. Asleep on the sun deck. The crew may have seen me. They may not. What brings you aboard the ship? Heading to Honolulu. Arriving safely and fast. Yep. Is that so? A very interesting detail. Please tell me about the other passengers. The captain? Seems a good sort. Jaffa? A little during my time on the surface. He's not a bad egg, he's not a very good one. Well, I must say. What of her character? A millionaire. Interesting. Every few hours it makes a whistling noise like a kettle. Steam release. Ah, well, thank you. Oh, we gained ourselves a day. Crossing the date line. Well, we discovered a new route. It's not going to do us much good, though. From Manila to Honolulu. I think we're going to be locked up. The machine makes a squealing noise, not as loud as the one the other day. A valve opened. Perhaps it was some regular... A flap closed, the boat, the cold air spread away. I jumped out of my skin. Oh, okay. Well, I was hoping that would be more useful than less useful. Fear in her eyes. Yeah, that's exactly what we were doing down there. She blocked the vent. It sure is. I heard of her reputation, that's why, but I never met her. Until we launched. It'll revolutionize international trade if it is successful. Oh, she owns a shipping line. I was going to make an offer to buy her whole fleet. Well, I don't know what to do here. Any help from chat would be amazing because I really have no idea what's going to happen. I think, I think, I think we're dead and arrested. 43 health. This has not been a good route. Do not attempt to bluster or they will think you are guilty. We're trying to solve the murder of the engineer, basically. Engineer designer of the ship that we're on. It's not us. Somebody stole our katana that I only bought to sell in Salt Lake City. I bought it that day. And they killed the engineer with it. And I don't know who done it. And well, none really. Mademoiselle Carlotta has an alibi. General Peters doesn't. We don't. Monsieur Jaffa doesn't. Nobody really seems to have a motive except for possibly Carlotta. She says that she was going to buy the designs for the ship that we're on from the engineer to use in her own shipping line. General Peters is trying to get to Honolulu as fast as we are to do some shopping. I think it might be Jaffa. He was the one who came up with the time of death. So he might be lying about that. And he might be lying about that deliberately to allay suspicion against himself. Clear fear of someone. Oh, she knows something. I cleared my throat and began to speak. I am a valet and quite unimpeachable. I held up a hand for silence. The key to this whole affair was... It was the lack of a scream. We didn't hear the scream. Oh, shit, it was General Peters. I've just realised. It's the story how the dog didn't bark. The key to this whole affair was the lack of a scream. We didn't hear the scream because there's the venting thing that happens every 2 hours. And General Peters knows exactly when that happens. None of us heard it. How could that be? There was no doubt, sadly, rather brief. That is not the important point. The killer covered her mouth. I shook my head. It's simpler than that. We did not hear her scream because there was another louder noise that covered it. The whistling from the engine. It's true that when the boat rights itself, it makes a squeal, but it's only for a moment, not enough to cover a scream, not enough time for someone to be attacked. What if the boat listed further? Unless it was perfectly timed. Oh, no, I don't think it's General Peters after all. Man, this is difficult. What time is it? Oh man, it's nearly midnight. I think we're gonna get arrested and we're not gonna make it. I'm glad the time isn't ticking while I'm doing this. It could have been perfectly timed, or unless it was perfectly timed. It was a very rocky ride. Monsieur Fogg's health is down to 43, despite me using every opportunity to attend to his person that I could. Hey, no they're not. I turned that off. Right. Okay. I disabled the manual command, but I forgot to disable the timed command, so I've turned that off now. Don't let that stop you from subscribing to my channel anyway, because that would be very helpful. But they're not half price anymore. The next detail is, I think it might be sort of another dog analogy. Instead of the dog that didn't bark, it's now the dog in the manger. If Mademoiselle Carlotta was going to buy the design from Madame Shu, then maybe the captain killed her. I don't know. The captain and Mademoiselle Carlotta exchange sharp looks. The captain said no, she was going into business with me. I tried to persuade her, Carlotta admitted. I tried to befriend her. I would have succeeded in the end, but now there is nothing to buy. I mean, there's still the design, but not the person who created it. So that's going to suck. I did mention the time of death before, but I was more worried about the timing of the whistle, and that was covered. I covered that point already. No, you're right. I did mention maybe Jaffe. I think this business thing is might be it. I don't know. I would have succeeded in the end. She has an alibi. I just I don't know. Shut up, phone. At the time told to us by Monsieur Jaffe, no one has an alibi for their whereabouts except for Mademoiselle Carlotta, who was in her cabin receiving a gin and tonic from the butler. Any of us could have been in the boiler room bringing Madame Shu to grief. Indeed, whatever. How sure of you at that time? I touched her. She was quite cold. What if she was cold for another reason? Like what? A cold blast of air from the vent. Wind through an open portal wouldn't do it. I held up a finger for silence. Then the coroner would have said more from the blood, but I could not. If the temperature not a factor, she could have died any time. A piranha plant? Oh no. Yes, okay. So we're ignoring the time of death, so nobody has an alibi. So maybe it was Collider after all. So then, this is... Maybe I should have gone after Carlotta earlier. I told him about the steam valve in the engine room. With enough gas release, enough cooler body sharply. The crime was committed by someone who understood the engine. Someone capable of blocking the valve to build up the cool air and pressure inside. They planned to cool the body and confuse us about the time. Sure. No small knowledge of the workings of the ship. I wheeled around, Columbo style. I think this is the first chance we've had to accuse the captain. With the time of death out of the way, Carlotta's alibi goes out the window. You righted the ship by opening the valves. But the ship righted itself several minutes before we met. The whole event was prepared and executed by you. Meeting me in the corridor was sheer bad luck. Made a bolt for the door. Yes! Hooray! We did it! I always knew it would be a foreigner. I suppose that is what you Americans want to be, eh? We docked at Honolulu. Carlotta was taken away by local authorities. We did it, everybody! She did not look like a killer, I remarked. Do you think she weeps when a miner suffocates to death in one of her gold mines? There are not many who gain such riches through kindness. I nodded and left him to his thoughts, grateful for our liberty, but then he called me back. Passepartout, I'm glad I trusted you. You have proved most astute. I will talk to my friends who run trading ships. I'm quite sure they will take you wherever you want to go without charge. Oh. That is very good to know. And I got an achievement for cracking the case. Oh, okay. Let's go to the market. Oh, another accordion. Okay, I don't need that. Smith & Wesson. We've lost the katana. Panama City. Panama. Okay, it looks like we're going to try and go through Panama City. Oh, and Panama City. Okay, cool. Okay. San Pedro, San Francisco. Where the hell is Panama? Oh, it's all the way down here. Departs tomorrow at 9 a.m. Wait, hang on. Departs in 3 days at 9 a.m. And gets there on Monday. I don't know want it to depart in 3 days. £2,500 for tomorrow. At 9 AM, we won't have time to go to the bank. $750 for 2 days. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. Okay, and then we can go to the bank. $500 tomorrow. Thank you. And still have time to explore Honolulu. What? Ah! Oh, can we rest comfortably? Oh, yeah, we can. Plus 25. The trading vessel for Panama City departs tomorrow. Well, that's a shame. The thing that we negotiate is paid money to negotiate to depart tomorrow. We're not taking that anymore. Shit. Minus 33 health. Trading vessel departs tomorrow, 11 AM. Before going to bed, I attended to Monsieur Fogg. We're going to need it. Baking sunshine and rough seas. But it's a free journey. Introduce himself briskly. Samoan fisherman, my puppet and Ionian coal hauler from Pago Pago. How would £1,000 seem to you? What is it you need? We need this boat to go faster. A day. I'll tell my crew to get to work. Attend to Monsieur Fogg. It is all we are doing. Yes, cooks. Excellent. I looked away from it. It is hard to ignore. My apologies, madame. None of my business. Oh, machine through a gear. Oh, well that took a dark turn. Oh yeah, look how fast we're going. Having managed to offend Madame Costanza the previous day, I kept very silent. I cast a glance at Monsieur Fogg, too absorbed in making calculations. Mauled by a shark. I had no interest. Kept my attention firmly down. I'm not touching that. You've been a gracious host. Be wary of the Haitian Autonoma in... Hello, Kev. Welcome to the stream. I am not making jokes. We will nod politely and get out of here. Oh yes, quite deliberately. Smith & Wesson. Ah, this was valuable here. Let's sell it. Iron ore, a dinosaur, Freetown. Not going to Freetown. Alright, let us plan. We can't plan. Let us explore. So we made that that thousand back. So Lima departs tomorrow. Or we can go back to Acapulco. We can't get to Port Royal from here? Seriously? Oh, somebody went through here yesterday. Why were they called the 49ers? Oh, 1849. They were certainly not gold in Panama. It was a nowhere town so steeped in immigrant cultures and influences. It had no true character of its own. The French had bought the rights to the construction from the Colombians, but quickly ceded those, rights to the Haitians after disease decimated their engineering corps. I avoided every aspect of it, not wanting to discover whether French blood was particularly effective for powering diggers. Yeah, we can go back to minus 32. That's it. That's all we've got. Or we can go down to Lima. Why can't we get to Port Royal? It really seems like we should be able to get to Port Royal. Day 47. Let's spend the night and maybe I can find something out. They seem keen to talk. The machines drink blood. They are merely machines, not magical in the least. You have not been here long, you will see. We are leaving Panama. Oh, where are you headed? In the Amazons. Visitor from France. Have you come back to take your canal? It will not be so easy. She raised her fist playfully. Madame! She took my hand. We're travellers looking to journey onward. A little craft of my own devising. It needs new parts. Is it fast? When she works? That sounds most intriguing. Perhaps we could travel with you when your craft is repaired. Name your price. Well, tell me what the figure is, game, for crying out loud. It was not unfeasible. We will consider it. Okay, there we go. So now I can get 5,900. That is crazy. I mean, I wanted to get to Port-au-Prince, but wow. Departs at 11. How do we get from Tabatinga to anywhere else? And then we've got to get across to Dakar. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It doesn't depart for 3 days. Oh, let's go! Oh, minus 51? We're not going to survive that journey. I'm going to have to go back up to I can't say Acapulco, guys. See, that's minus 10, but this is really expensive. Thank you, Cider. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Have a great night's sleep. I will see you around. Especially if you're going to be at PAX this weekend, or just in the city randomly on Monday. Actually, I'll text you. I tended to Monsieur Fogg. 5,900. Ooh. The bank opens at 11. I don't even know where Freetown is. Oh, I might get to New Orleans. In some markets. We are European. Oh. All right. Unfortunate. 82. That's a shame. Via Garuda. I grinned back. I styled myself a modern man. What was more modern than flying? How does it work? Fenchon shrugged. She doesn't know. I sat behind Fenchon. There we go. I got some attention in. Alright, we've made it to Port-au-Prince. From that small start, the nation had progressed beyond anyone's wildest imaginings in the last 10 years, spreading its influence across South America and the Caribbean. With iguanas ferrying a message throughout the city, thin wings of wood and dyed feathers allowing them to fly short and darting distances. That's after midnight. I should be going to bed soon too. I asked the little girl who happened to be passing by. She seemed baffled by my questions as I was by her Creole. They make the Zenimoto, but I don't like questions. Fair enough. Let us explore Port-au-Prince. Okay, we can get to Port Royal. We can get to Washington. Ooh. Oh, we can go today. Yes. Minus 24. What time does it depart at 3 p.m? Okay, we have enough time to go to the market. Don't need that, don't need that. Sure. Valuable in Lisbon. Okay. Yep, the thing that I just bought is going to help. I introduced myself to it before mounting. Do my best to pretend it was a horse. High in the air. We'd flown before, of course. More exciting than an airship. No real complaints about the Zenimoto. Abruptly stilled and plummeted towards the ocean. I braced myself for impact, which never came, tucked its legs and landed on the surface of the water. We were floating. He is a living bird still. He has carried us far today, and like all God's creatures, he had earned his west. We float all night. The currents work in our favour. It is pleasant to sleep suspended in the ocean. I found it curiously soothing and slept all night. Yay! Let us converse. They grow oranges. Can we get from there to Lisbon? One can fly to Lisbon. Excellent. And then can we get from Lisbon to London? I believe so. We have our route home. We have our route home. Day 52. We have our route home. Why am you Monsieur, not the captain? It doesn't need a captain? You act like a captain. Only if those captains treat their ships as though they were living things, and listen to them as well as command. I accepted the answer. Move to operate some of the controls that were attached to the creature. It began to storm halfway through the night, and the Zenimoto took it into its head to take off into the rain-soaked gale rather than endure being tossed about in the ocean's swells. I held on for dear life, feeling the coral of the Zenimoto's carapace cut into my palms. It was warm to the touch like living flesh, and I could feel the creature shudder every time the sky flashed with lightning. We made a clattered mess of a landing, but I leapt upon the solid ground and kissed the sweet earth, feeling like Noah after the great flood, if his ark had been a terrified beast rather than a sensible vessel of comfortingly dead wood. We made it to Ponta Delgada. Oh, excellent. We can sell a hammer. Cool. We're not going to Colombo, I guess. Okay. It's 76 at 4 p.m. Oh, wow. That is excellent. Let us go to the market. Is there anything else we can sell? Desert Traveler, Desert Traveler, Desert Traveler. We don't need any of those. 4 p.m. That's 2:30. Oh, that one goes straight to London. Looking out from its shores, we could have stood on empty earth. We have come so far, I marveled. I can scarcely believe it. We're not in London yet, but we are making excellent time. As you say, monsieur. Okay, now directly to London is £5,400, which we do not have. A farming gyro. I'm going to go with gyrocopter rather than gyrocopter. I know very little of Portuguese poetry. You consider the French tradition superior, let me see. Baudelaire over Rimbaud, am I right? Verlaine knows the pull of the unfamiliar. I've seen sidereal archipelagos and islands whose delirious skies are open to the sea wanderer. I saw the coastline on the horizon. Lisbon rose up along a gentle hill, a city of gaslit, whitewashed buildings, church spires and snaking tramways set on the Iberian Peninsula. Alright. Yes, the sugarcane will sell here. Alright. 220 pounds. And then we are done. Alright, let us stay the night. Oh, I forgot to check to see what time it finishes. Senors, I have a great favor to ask. But we're just about to leave. My foolish brother, what a trial he is to our dear mother. He has made a grave error and we have 2 guests without a table. I cocked an eye at Monsieur Fogg. A top-hatted English gentleman and his dapper Prussian valet to our table. We were strange mirrors of each other, though Monsieur Fogg and I clearly comprised the superior, more handsome image. The Prussian valet introduced himself as Dietrich and gave a hearty sniff as our appetizers were served. Her Montgomery standards is very particular. Oh, we're talking shop. A difficult master, is he? Thinking to keep your personal remarks about Monsieur to yourself, her passport. Sort of look that 2 generals might exchange across a corpse-strewn battlefield. We are travelling around the world! Around the world, I repeated. Yes, for a wager. I stared at him in silent shock. Indeed, we're heading to Tangier tomorrow, and then from there to South America and across the Pacific. West instead of east? And what are you and your master doing in Lisbon? I decided I would lie. We are we are mere hours away from departing and to claim victory. Actually... Oh, this is terrible. These are obvious lies. Russian ballet dancers on the run from the Bolshoi. We too are travelling around the world for a wager. What a remarkable coincidence. Quite, my master responded. And that was that. We took our leave with awful echoing politeness. There's no need to be rude. I did not like that Dietrich. He had a thieving, unctuous look about him. Passepartout, you're a man of remarkable depths. Alright. What time does it leave? It leaves at 10 AM. We don't have time to explore. We do have time to go to the market. Let us go to the market. We don't need funds. We have it's only £220 to get to London. Pair of galoshes. A sailor's cap. Well, yeah, we don't need anything. Alright, let us depart. This is it. This is it, everybody. Oh, hi, extra space for... Yeah, go. Just do it. Get out of there. We left Lisbon aboard the Mardudu, an old Torres Corvedo airship with a belly full of Algarve oranges and early season cherries. The smell of fresh, ripe fleshed fruit would no doubt tantalize me for the duration of our one-day journey to London. Let me attend Monsieur Fogg. And here we are, day 54. Day 54. I spent the remaining time ironing, which is a great solace to an uneasy soul. We tethered at the airship dock in Hyde Park, and I felt for the first time in 54 days the feel of English soil under our shoes. At long last, we had returned to London and in plenty of time to win the wager. Holy shit, guys, I got 3 achievements for beating 70 days and 60 days and 20 cities. Threw him into one of the steam carriages. There is no need for such unseemly haste, Passepartout, but I was a man possessed. The carriage barely shuddered to a steam hissing stop before I dragged my master from his seat and up the steps of the imposing door of the Reform Club. I released him only when we reached the great saloon, where my master's erstwhile friends stood from their chairs, gaping in an attitude of great shock. Monsieur Fogg only straightened a little and said in his calm voice, "Gentlemen, here I am." The room erupted into cheers. Where had the crowd come from? Had they followed us inside from the street? I had scarcely noted them. I realized, as though a spell had suddenly broken, that we had succeeded and won £20,000. With the 4,000 we began with, the debt built up from banks along the way, and our remaining funds was a profit of over 16,000. Hardly a meagre sum. So for the first time, the grand interiors of the Reform Club, which had no doubt remained untouched since its founding some 30 odd years ago. One of the club butlers was just taking from our case the ferrotype from Agra. To go up above the mantelpiece, I think, he murmured. A most fine souvenir from your adventures, Monsieur Fogg, sir. Looked quite fine there, and I smiled with pride. I pushed my way through to Monsieur Fogg, who had nearly been swallowed by congratulatory crowds. "You have won the bet, Monsieur," I told him. I seized my master by the hand and took it last time, so this time I want to say something a little bit different. Monsieur Fogg pressed my hand warmly, even though I didn't choose that option, and did not remark even once upon the impropriety of my gesture. I believe he welcomed the chance to shake my hand. "Any gentleman would be fortunate to call you his valet, and you have been a worthy companion to me besides," Monsieur Fogg said, and I knew that from him there could be no higher praise. Mr. Fogg, one of the journalists in the crowd cried, interrupting our conversation. "What next to the great adventurer Phileas Fogg and his loyal valet Passepartout?" My master looked at me. "Why?" he replied. "To the moon, of course." I looked around at the face of the assembled crowd and quirked an eyebrow. "Anyone care to make a wager?" Monsieur Fogg refrained from rolling his eyes. "I believe," he said with great deliberation, "that tonight I will have supper and go to bed. Come, Passepartout, it grows late." "Yes, Monsieur Fogg," I said, and followed. "Your journey around the world is complete. We've done it, everybody." 54 days. Despite crazed automatons in Rangoon, Indian rebels destroying train line in Chittagong, and arrest in Vladivostok. When we lost the 4 days in Vladivostok, I thought we were in a lot of trouble. When we had to go back, oh wow. But yeah, that 5,000 £5,000 trip to Port-au-Prince was absolutely worth it. Mana collected. Well, let me see if I can share it. Cool. That's right. Yeah, open it in Google Chrome. This is probably going to crash the stream a little bit. But it's open, and then I can share that later. Dum 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 dum. My valeting skills were remarkable. Alright, that's going to be it for the stream. How do I stop? Quick. Thank you everybody for joining me on the stream. It's good to be back. It's been 3 weeks since I streamed. The next stream is not going to be for a while. I am busy tomorrow working on hopefully what will hopefully be the last of my costume for PAX Oz this weekend. Thursday I'll be at the convention center helping to set up PAX Oz, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I will be at PAX Oz, PAX Ozzing. Monday for me, which is Sunday in North America, will be more Changeling the streaming. Stay tuned for that. Take careful note of when everyone else is streaming. Have a good time. I might try doing some more streaming during next week. I will see how things go. Until I see you again next time, thank you so much for watching. If you've been watching on YouTube, thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow me at CaptDaf on Twitch and Twitter to get notifications of when I stream next. I don't know when that's going to be, next week sometime. Until I see you again next time, thank you for watching. Drive fast and take chances. Bye.